Hey friends, wanted to shoot this quick video for you guys on this little blog post. Now, what this is about is the disappointment panda and one weekly habit that can turn all stress and all failure into your friend. Now, a quote that I love, and this is by Kelly McGonigal. Check her out on TED Talks. It's actually really good. It says, the best way to improve your self-control is to see where you lose self-control. And I love that idea. And there's one book that I really love. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. Bleep. Okay, I'm not going to say that on this video, but you get the idea. It's by Mark Manson, and what he did is he actually talks about this character that he created called the Disappointment Panda. Now, in a lot of the coaching that we do, a lot of the training that we do, we hear about the Disappointment Panda all the time, and you might recognize it. Ready? It's the I screwed up and I'm not motivated to do anything, so I'm going to start on Monday. Or I didn't follow through again. I'm such a loser. Or I have no self-control and I never have. If you've ever said that to yourself, I know I have, then that is the inner critic, and he called it the Disappointment Panda. It's basically the guy, that little voice that says we suck in all its different forms, right? And one thing that we can do is we can actually turn this disappointment panda into our friend. Okay, and it's with one weekly habit, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to you right now. It's the weekly review. Okay, now what you might be thinking is a weekly review. I've heard that before. That sounds really boring. Like, how could that go ahead and solve all the self-esteem issues that I may have, or the lack of follow-through that I may have? How can that weekly review solve it? I try to forget my week every weekend at the bar, or with ice cream, who knows? And so, hold on, it has to be done in a certain way. Okay, now it comes in three parts. Number one is the accomplishment journal. Okay, number two is to ask, in the things that were not done, what did I do instead? And number three is to course correct. Okay, and I'll show you how to do each one. Now, number one, the accomplishment journal. What the heck is an accomplishment journal? It's basically a journal not to write down our feelings or how to solve our problems or brainstorm or anything like that. It's quite literally, I did this today, I did this today, I did this today, I did that today. Very straightforward. You're quite literally listing everything that you did right. And what happens is it just kind of like says, okay, this day didn't totally suck. I actually at least got this done, this done, this done. If you worked out today, write that down. You picked up the kids on time, write that down. You sent the email that you were supposed to send out, or you at least wrote a sentence in that paper that you're attempting to turn in. All right, write that down. That's what the accomplishment journal is about. And in your weekly review, you get to look at that and you get that little sense of, okay, at least this week wasn't a total wash. I at least did this and this and this. So it just kind of gets the ball rolling in some good feelings for the weekly review. Now, next step number two, is what did I do instead? Now, what did I do instead? It's a great question to ask for all the things that were not done. Instead of questions like, why did I suck so much, or it's not really about that. Just look at what you intended to do, what wasn't done, and then ask yourself, what did I do instead? Because the time still existed, right? The time still happened. Now, you might have allocated time to finish this project or to complete this major task, but that task wasn't done because you were doing something else. What was that something else? Did a friend walk in and distract you? Was someone else, doing something in the kitchen when you were intending to? Did you not have the resources available, so you had to go to the store or go to pick up the resource or whatever, right? What did you do instead of that thing that you intended to do? And then that leads in, and once you know what that is, that leads into step number three, which is course correct. All right. Now in this course correct, that's where you can go ahead and set up your calendar differently, or you can set up your work habits differently in a way that works for you. For sake of example, I find that there are times when I can focus for like 3 hours at a time, totally immersed. And there are other times when I'm just in a total distracted mood and I have to use something called the Pomodoro technique. It's basically a 25-minute work session followed by a 5-minute play session. That's when I get up, I stretch, I play little video games on my phone, and I find that I have those distracted moments where I just kind of like want to play like a little kid, and I I basically count how many Pomodoros I can do on this certain activity instead of forcing myself to do 3 hours straight. And so that's what works for me. And I made that adjustment based on what I know I've learned about myself in this weekly review. Feeling bad about not getting 3 hours straight, that's just gonna make me feel worse. But having these 25-5 things set up for me, that works for me. Now that's just a quick example of what works for me. But all of it is relevant into all course corrections can be nailed down into a couple different ideas, right? Just 4 simple habits, right? Either start doing something, stop doing something, do more of something, or do less of something. That's it. If you start something, stop something, do more of something, do less of something. I stopped being hard on myself when I can't do 3 hours. I started doing Pomodoros if I ever find that I'm in that distracted day type thing right there. I find myself doing more of those mandatory play sessions as well as mandatory focus sessions, and I'm doing less of that strict forced, like, 3-hour sessions, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just, find what works for you, and hopefully this can help, guys. But if you find that you're able to course correct any bad habits that you may have, if you find that you're able to address any problems that came up either situationally or problems in yourself where you're just a distracted person, then these course corrections actually take that inner critic, that disappointment panda, and it's like, hey, you really sucked at this week. It's like, yes, Panda, I get it. Thank you for sharing. I'll take care of it on Sunday. Whenever your weekly review is, I'll address it on Sunday. That's it. And so it's really how to go ahead and use that as kind of like that negative person in your company, on your board of directors, that VP of doom and gloom. You don't like him, but he does his job well so that you can actually address the real problem. So if anything, guys, that's how you can make the disappointment panda your friend. And basically, even if you don't succeed, even if you fail, even if you're stressed, how you can use that as an advantage to make your weeks better and better and better. So hopefully that helps, guys. Take care.